Is it helpful if I have a mic? I heard a yes. Okay. First, thanks for letting me be in here. It's good to see you again, Matthew. Matthew's been here every year, right? Yeah, stud. How many has been here every year? Several of you guys. Okay. Well, I pre-apologize for you having to listen to me again. For those that are new, I apologize too. No, just kidding. It's going to be great. So we have just a few minutes. This is really tough to talk about these important principles and to do it in just a few minutes. One of the things that I've been reflecting most on today, is how the leadership like possibilities and capabilities that you each have. I mean, come on, let's be honest. If you're not even already somewhat of a leader, like you probably wouldn't be here, right? Like your hearts and your minds are in this place of you want to do something in your life more than what you've been doing. You probably want to become something more than what you've become. And your teenager's willing to give up a Saturday to do it. Like, that's awesome. So I want to focus on that and that energy that you already brought to today. I want to focus on what we can do to be better leaders. And we're going to be super hyper focused on just one big concept, and I call it leadership of self. There is no way you can lead a group of people in anything effectively unless you can lead yourself. So that's a process, and it's a really hard process actually to lead yourself. It's a really hard process to grow and to become better and to be different and to learn and to do all these things that we want to do. Like it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of commitment, it takes a lot of intention, but there's a few things I think that we can focus on. I call them the 4 A's of self-leadership. So if you've got pens, get them out. Get out your pens, get out your books. There's no PowerPoint for today, so you're not gonna like drift off asleep looking at my slides. This time you're gonna have to write something down. So write a big, big fat A, and you'll know why it's fat in a minute. But it needs to be fat. The other ones don't have to be fat, but I want you to use your imagination and write a really big fat A. The first A in accountability, or excuse me, in self-leadership is acknowledgement. Okay? In the spirit of we want to be better, we want to grow, we want to improve. This is where we start. We have to acknowledge where we're at. We have to acknowledge what we're doing or what we're not doing. We have to acknowledge. So here's a personal story. Not too many years ago, I was a little over 300 pounds. I was, by the very definition, fat. Like super fat. Huge, big, and fat. And by the way, nothing wrong with it. It's just not what I wanted. If I wanted to be fat, then I was crushing life, right? Like I was killing it. Like give me the points, the golden buzzer on AGT for the biggest, fattest person ever. That was me, all right? I can't stress that enough. Who cares what your body's like? That's not the important message here. But I didn't want to be that way anymore. And I had to acknowledge that I was bigger than I thought I was. I had to stop lying to myself. Let's be honest. How many of you lie to yourself about things? Oh, here's the classic lie I told myself, okay? I'm not that big. I'm not that fat. And again, who cares? Fat's not a big deal. Fat's great if that's what you want. But in my life at that moment, that's not what I wanted anymore. Life was difficult. Everything was difficult for me. I wasn't able to accomplish much. I wasn't able to do much. I wasn't able to even think or breathe walking up the stairs without doing something. So I had to look in the mirror, and there's a great book called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. He's a Navy SEAL. Totally recommend. I'm going to talk fast because we have a few minutes. Totally recommend you guys get that book and have it on repeat. Shane knows it's one of his staple. So he talks about the accountability mirror, and that's where you look yourself in the mirror and you just stop lying to yourself. Just own it. What is it that you are and that you are not? And are those things what you want to be? Just be honest. Just be really real with yourself, because that's where it starts. That's where you can make some changes. So, okay. So the first A in self-leadership is to acknowledge. So, and in the workshop, we're going to drill down into these things. Okay. We're going to go spend some time together. We're going to do some more on this, but the first one is acknowledge. The second one, this is accountability. The second A is accountability. This one you can draw any size you want. Hey, this one's not fat.
It's fat enough.
Okay, it's fat enough. See, that's good for her. That's where she wants to be. Perfect. I love it. Okay, so the second one is accountability. What do you think? Just somebody like briefly, because we only have a few minutes. What does accountability mean to you?
Owning up to your actions.
Owning up to your actions. And what does that mean?
Like if you did something wrong, then like being honest and taking ownership of that mistake.
Did you guys hear that? She said owning up to your own actions if you did something wrong, being honest about it, and what'd you say?
Like being honest about your mistake.
Being honest about your mistake. That's classic, right? That's classic accountability. Owning up to your actions, being honest about it, owning up to your mistake. That often bleeds into integrity, honesty, and all these other things, right? Okay, think about accountability in this other vein too. How about all of the stuff that happens to you that's not your fault? Like, what about the person that was born and was an orphan? What about the person who's walking down the street and gets robbed, mugged, shot? I've been shot at, by the way. Has anybody been shot at before? Super interesting experience to be shot at. Happened multiple times. What do you know, is it my fault that I was shot at? I mean, some people might say, oh, you're at the wrong place, wrong time. I was at school. That's probably not the wrong place. So think about accountability in this sense. What do you do about it? So there might be things in your life right now that just suck. Maybe you've got parents going through some difficult relationship issues. Maybe you just have one parent. Maybe you don't have any parents. Maybe you got some physical challenges, some health challenges, some mental challenges, some emotional challenges. I mean, the stress that you kids live with today is 100 times what we lived with when we were kids. We still played in the dirt and built tree houses and all this kind of stuff. You got phones, bikes you don't even have to pedal anymore because they got motors and stuff on there. I mean, this is a totally different world, right? You got like internet cyberbullying, and I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that didn't exist when we just had kids shooting at us. It was different. It was really different. So what do you do about it? So something bad is in your life or something good is in your life. Either way, what are you going to do about it? That's the kind of accountability that promotes change. Because it's pretty easy to say, oh, I made this mistake. Actually, it's not easy. Most people do not do that. So kudos to everybody who can have the classic accountability of owning up to your stuff. That's really cool because you are going to make mistakes. None of us are perfect. I made probably 10 mistakes already today, including speeding to get here. And I own it. Yes, I speed. All right. So what about all those things, though, that happen to us? What are we going to do about it? So think about accountability that way. Like I said, in the workshop, we're going to drill down on that. But accountability. So first acknowledge where you're at, where you're not, what you want, and then take accountability for it. It might not be your fault, but it sure as, fill in your own favorite swear word, is your responsibility. So some things in your life might not be your fault, but they are 100% your responsibility. If you were born poor, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to do something about it. If you were born and you're missing a leg, it's not your fault. It's your responsibility to do something about it. If your family is going through a divorce or your sibling or your grandma died or who knows what, not your fault. Hopefully, it's not your fault they died. What are you going to do about it? That's the kind of accountability where you can actually grow and make some changes in your life. Because we're talking about leadership of self. Leadership of self is really just growth. It's personal growth. It's success on an epic level. And blaming doesn't do anything. Pointing the finger at somebody doesn't do anything. Who cares that this person mugged me the other day? I can sit there and I can be sad about it. This person was mean to me, or this girl doesn't like me, or this boy doesn't like me, or whatever it is. Like, and you can just be like super sad and be on your self-pity pot, or you can take accountability. What am I going to do about this situation? So your reaction, how you react to life, that is the pure sense of accountability that promotes growth. Okay. So the next one, the next A, the third A, action. This one speaks for itself, right? What do you think it means? We're going to go to you.
Do something.
Yeah, do something, right? Good, she nailed it, right? Okay, action is do something. So when you're in the accountability space, your head space, your heart space, and you're thinking about what am I going to do about it, right? Natural transition, okay. Then when those thoughts come up, do something about it. This is where I like to talk about choose your difficulty, choose your hard. Shane mentioned a little bit in the like faux break that we just had. Choose your discomfort. So let's go back to, I mean, I have so many examples. Just a short highlight reel. I did complete Hell Week with the Navy SEALs, one of the best experiences of my life. I've raced my bicycle across the country with like pneumonia, coughing up blood over 3 states, We can go on and on, all the stupid stuff that I've done. And it's super difficult and super hard to do some of those things. But you know what? It's also hard to just be 320 pounds. That's hard too. It's also hard to be sad. It's also hard to be depressed. It's also hard, fill in the blank. So choose your hard. So when you do something about it, don't not do something because it sounds hard, right? That's the message there. Don't be afraid to do something because it sounds hard. If it's hard, I would suggest that you're probably on the right track. Now you're actually thinking about something that you're going to grow from, because we always grow when we go beyond our limits, right? When we push ourselves, like those are classic statements people make, almost like passing out popcorn at a movie theater. You know, like it's just that those are true statements though. So when you think about something that you're accountable for and you're taking accountability for it, it leads to these thoughts of what you can do about it. When they feel really hard and they feel really uncomfortable, smile. Lean into that because you're on a really good track. Like you're going to give yourself goosebumps thinking about that, going, oh, I can actually do something now that's going to make a difference. It's going to be a huge impact in my life. And when you impact your own life, leadership of self, you will then impact everybody around you. It will just be naturally organic and unfolds. It'd be awesome. Okay. I didn't pay attention when I started. Did anybody pay attention when I started? Okay. The fourth A is awareness. Okay. So in the military, they have something called after action reports. After action reports are, they just get back from this mission. They just killed Osama bin Laden or whatever terrorist they were hunting, super cool stories. And they come back and then they break down everything. They go step by step. What did they do? What went right? What went wrong? What can be done better? All of this is called an after action report. It's to increase and heighten their awareness of what they just been through so that when they start again, they can be better. So I like to look at awareness. You want to have the awareness of everything you just went through, your awareness of what you acknowledged, your awareness of how you took accountability for it, your awareness of what you decided to do, and then what you did or did not do about it. So that's like personal deep reflection. And when you get into this personal deep reflection space, your awareness is like next level. We're talking like Spider-Man Spidey sense stuff, right? That kind of awareness leads to, guess what? More acknowledgement. Now you can acknowledge where you are, where you're not, where you've been. And when you're in that acknowledgement space, what are you going to naturally start thinking about? Well, what can I take accountability for? First of all, take accountability for your successes, right? And then where am I not yet? What do I want still? And whose fault is it? Who cares? What are you going to do about it? I hate the word fault. Of course someone might be at fault, and it might be you, it might be someone that's close to you. Who cares? Fault is such a waste of energy. It is such a waste of time. Every second you spend on thinking about whose fault it is that you're in the place you're in, you just gave your power away to somebody else. Who cares? Who cares about fault? So in the accountability space, you're going to start thinking about, what can I do about it? Yeah, what can I do about it? So they locked me up in a prison. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm in some little hole in freaking Iraq somewhere because I was a tourist on a camel taking the wrong picture. All right. What am I going to do about it? Right? So then once you have those thoughts, right, this is this natural cycle. These 4 A's are beautiful this way. Once you have that natural like thought of what am I going to do about it, then you get those thoughts. And that's when you start leaning into that action. And the more difficult, often the better it is. And then the action leads to more awareness. Awareness leads to more acknowledgement. And you keep on going like a reverse tornado. Instead of going down towards the ground and spiraling into this destruction, you're spiraling upwards into the cosmos. Unstoppable, no end. It's just you crushing it. I love those concepts. I really have spent a decent portion of my adult life trying to live in these spaces and feel them out and experience them. And there are many stories, and maybe we can get into some of those in our workshop here in a few minutes. But in the workshop, just know we're gonna use a huge important tool. The huge important tool, meditation. Can you imagine Navy SEALs sitting there going, They do. Meditation is a great space to calm your mind, open your heart, and start thinking about these things. How can I actually get to this heart space where I can acknowledge where I'm at, or more important, where I'm not yet? How can I get into this head or heart space where I can actually accept accountability for it and go, okay, this is my responsibility. Nowhere is the word fault mentioned in accountability. It's my responsibility. My life, my responsibility. My success, my responsibility. You could do the worst things in the world to someone that has this mindset, and it doesn't set them back because they're not blaming. They're just, what am I going to do about this? And then those people take that action onward and onward. So we'll do that in meditation. Meditation is a space where that you can learn as a daily tool that you can implement every day on your own. It costs $0. Love that. Not everything's free. Meditation costs $0 to sit there and to learn how to be in touch with yourself. So leadership of self, you have to know who you are. You have to know what you feel, what inspiration feels like, what a good idea feels like, what a bad idea feels like, what fear feels like, so that you can lean into these things and master them and make them your tools instead of being their tool. Okay, so that's going to be the workshop. I'm very positive that I went over the 20 minutes. I apologize. And then in the workshop, we'll just have a few minutes for questions. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, I'd happily answer them. And thank you for your time.